Well, hello, Phyllis. I'm Susan Damiani. I'm Director of Gift Planning, and I'm also the Director of the McAllen Society, which is our St. John's Legacy Society. And I am so pleased to have you come on and do our hello video. And we're saying hello from where? Where do you reside?
South Carolina.
Oh, beautiful. South Carolina. How is the weather down there?
It's beautiful today. It's in the 70s.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Not
We're
to be,
warming up a little bit. These 2 days are a little warmer. Yeah.
I was in New York during the holidays because I have a residence there as well.
Oh, okay. So you go back and forth.
I do,
Sort of like a snowbird in a way, would you say?
but mainly during the school year, I'm here in South Carolina because I'm still teaching.
Oh, you're still teaching. So, okay. So just tell us briefly a little bit about yourself, your background. I know you're a double alumna, I should say, of St. John's, 75.
Right.
And I can't guess the
79.
graduate degree. 79?
Yes.
Okay, 75 and 79 from St. John's College, both of them?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. And so when you graduated, then you went on to what?
Well, I went on to banking because at that particular time, I was focusing not so much on the education as my career, but I was studying Spanish and I had an opportunity to work for a major financial institution in international banking. And
Wow, that's
then,
great.
then later on, uh, things changed, and I realized that really my passion, my calling was in the teaching profession. So it was a roundabout journey, but I ended up teaching. Um, I began at a HBCU, Hampton University, part time, and went back to New York and continued there,
Are you teaching business?
teaching Spanish.
Oh, Spanish. Oh,
Yes.
great. That's great.
That was my major.
And is that why you went on to get your master's? Because you wanted to
Well,
go into teaching?
I wanted to go into teaching, yes.
Nice. That's great. That's wonderful. And so now you're here and you've done so many wonderful things for the university, specifically being the founder of the Black Alumni Association. And how did that come about?
Well, um, when I was in high school, I'll go back to that briefly. Uh, it was a great experience. I attended a parochial high school there in Queens, and
I'm
I
curious, which one was that? Which school?
the Mary Lewis Academy.
Oh, of course. And I love how you put the "the" in there. But of
I,
course.
because I'm on the camera. Um, and I really had a great experience. That was my first time in a parochial school, but that, of course, that experience, um, surrounded by teachers and counselors who were encouraging us to go on and further our education. And I was looking at St. John's naturally as one of the main choices. What happened was that my parents, though, were financially unable to send me to college. They had sacrificed a great deal to afford to send me to high school.
I was going to say the high school, I'm sure, was, costly.
Fortunately, I was blessed to apply and to be the recipient of financial aid. Not boasting on myself, but that this was, as I said, a blessing. I received a
Sure.
full academic scholarship to St. John
Wow.
for all 4 years.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
and while I was in my junior and senior year at St. John's, I was on a work study program, and I happened to be assigned to the Alumni Relations Office.
Oh, okay.
So I had an idea of how it operated and what was going on with events, etc. When I graduated, I was on the committee for a few of the alumni fashion shows and luncheons.
Sure.
So I got to get into that. And as I said, that along with my experience at Hampton University, um, I feel I was divinely inspired to approach the university in 1989. I remember it, it was in the summer, and I met with Thomas Kitts, who was the director of alumni relations, and Father Conke, who was
Sure,
the
Father
vice
Conque.
president
Yes, I remember
at that
him.
particular
Hmm.
time. And I approached them with this idea of establishing a Black Alumni Association. And I remember Father Conke leaning back and he said, "It's a good idea, Phyllis, but how would we go about it?" And I said, "Well, let's start with the Alumni Relations Office." Um, and as the circumstances were, I literally spent time. They gave me access to yearbooks going back as far as they had on file. And they gave me a student assistant to help me. And we went page by page and
Hmm.
made a handwritten list of
That's great.
alumni that we thought fit that category.
That's great. Thank you. Because working in advancement and working very closely with alumni relations,
Hmm.
I know the hard work, the details, rolling up your sleeves and what goes into a lot of these projects. And thank you for doing that because you did a lot of the groundwork for us. And that was really, really helpful because, to the viewers that are watching, BAA is still flourishing.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. So your legacy, continues.
I have to say,
How does that make you feel?
well, sometimes it makes me feel ancient.
I know.
But really, the circumstances were that we started having um, meetings as we sent out. I said we established that initial mailing list, and we got feedback
Right.
in the fall.
That's great.
We started having meetings. Those people that responded, and it was more or less more networking, just among mainly alumni from the '60s and '70s.
Okay. Great.
And my situation was that I wasn't able to be as involved after a couple of years as I wanted to because of family obligations.
Hmm.
But there was always, always alumni who stepped up, and they're the ones that really deserve the credit for keeping this association going.
So you passed the baton and
Yeah.
it's continuing
And
to
if
be passed.
I can't even begin to name because I would leave out people, but they're just
Sure.
great, great, great people who took officer positions. They've been behind the scenes doing the groundwork. And, when I
That's
get a chance to
wonderful.
meet them, I'm so I'm so happy. So happy.
That's great. It's a great story. And like I said, thank you so much because it flourished today and it's great to have our Black alumni, still connected to the university. And during the pandemic, they've done amazing work,
Yes.
charitable work. They've raised money and they even named a scholarship in your name, right? The Phyllis Bell Black Alumni Scholarship Fund.
That's right.
How did that come about?
Well, the first couple of years after we got started, we had some events, a couple of events on campus, and then around 1999, started have more formal annual dinners. And from that, the idea was to start raising money to endow a scholarship. I mean, scholarships were something that was in the back of my mind, and those of us who started. But as I said, it took time and a lot of other people coming in, and so, like I said, so graciously naming it in my honor. But I'm just really, it took time and effort and a lot of behind the scenes work. And it was established in 2002.
And ironically, I was just speaking to Annual Giving,
Mhm.
and they said that the scholarship through Give Campus is doing really, really well
Mhm.
this year. Out of I think all the scholarships that they've sent out appeals for, I think yours is the top running in the running. So that's great, and that's a testament to you leadership.
Thank you.
That's wonderful,
Thank
really.
you. Yeah. Well,
So. How do you see Black, because I know you're still involved, right, with the Black Alumni Association. How do you see it evolving now, as it's evolved to this point? How do you see it evolving now into the future?
Well, I think it's really commendable because they're expanding um, really with that Vincentian mission attitude,
Great.
encompassing community, um, building up students as far as a holistic approach to the student. And of
Wonderful.
course, reaching out to the community, those who are marginalized, those who are underserved, so many issues that are going on today. I think it's wonderful. They're meeting so many needs. They're coming in and trying to address so many things within the St. John's community as well as outside.
That's great. What I would really love to see, I know I've reached out. I run the gift planning, and we do a lot of fun events, recruitment wise, to try to get people to join our McAllen Society and establish a legacy at St. John's. I would love to see, Black Alumni Association, the Latino Association, Asian, so forth. All of us, like, I think everybody can do their work individually, but I
Mhm.
would really love to see everybody coming together
Yes.
at some of our events, because I think, the diversity would just make it more interesting, exciting, and really the true representation of St. John's University. So that's what my hope is. And maybe you could help me, because I just love when, we do get some of the people from attending our events, and they love it. And I'm like, go
Yes.
back to your group and tell them, come on, we want to see more of them, attend. So that would be my hope, to see in the future more and more of our members from our different organizations coming together, for some of these, larger events that are just, overall for the university. I think that would be great. But again, thank you for the work that you do. What would you say, as a graduate of St. John's University, if you had to describe St. John's in one word, what would you describe it as?
Well, I'll go back to the word I used before. It's Vincentian.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, right.
it was when I was a student, it was that, but of course, it, the times we're in highlights it, spotlights it, and urges us, propels us to do more.
That's
Um,
great.
I will say that when I was a student, I have a shout out to Haraya
Oh,
because
yes, big organization.
that was the main
Yes.
organization on campus.
Mm-hmm.
They celebrated their 50th anniversary a couple of years ago. But
Yes.
they were the ones who were doing the work and they were involved and they were addressing needs and they were keeping us informed. Um, and I just think it's so heartwarming also to see on the website the stories of alumni from recent years and generations who are doing great things out there wherever they are in their particular careers. Also to go back, so it's looking both forward and backward.
Yes.
When I was a
Mm-hmm.
student, and when we started the Alumni Association, we knew there was Ron Brown, Charlie Rangel,
I
Basil
remember that.
Patterson,
Mm-hmm.
who were graduates. But when we looked into the archives and saw that back in the 30s and 40s, there was a Cora Walker, one of the first female African Americans, and Carl Fields, one of the first
Carl
male
Fields, yes.
African Americans who
Mm-hmm.
had graduated. That was incredible. So there was a whole unseen, invisible family of alumni that were out there. And that's what I think we should do. The current
Totally agree.
group reaching out, we're bringing
Yes.
in students, asking them to come in, become a part of the association, apply to the university, and then you're joining forces, you're joining hands, you're part of this family. And as you go forward, bring your other family members with you. And don't forget those who came behind you.
I love that. I love that because, if we are a family, we need to know our family history. And it's interesting that you mentioned Miss Walker. I just learned of her story and I was just blown away.
Right.
Amazing. And I didn't know it. And I was like, why don't we know more of these stories about all these great alums that, have come before us? And I think that really makes you, you feel even more part of the institution and prouder of the institution for what it represents. I know I went to school in the 80s, and I think Ron Brown was one of the speakers during the 80s. So I remember him and listening to him. And he was very impressive as well. And I just interviewed another alum, black alum, that I think is a member of Haraya. And I shared with him, I said, my memories of Haraya were the summertime when he used to go to Jones Beach. And they used to have an annual gathering on the west end of Jones Beach. And I was amazed at the numbers and so impressed that how the group was so strong and so connected and fun, and you could just see the strong camaraderie. And I just really commend them for it and the way they organize themselves, and just real leaders and real leaders at the university. So that always left an impression in my mind, and I'll never forget that organization because of it, because how they demonstrated, their belongingness to the university and their camaraderie between each other. And I think the BAA has that same, I can see, it reminds me of the group in the 80s, of Haraya. It reminds me the same way. So it's nice, and it's nice that, it takes one person to take that step and that initiative, wouldn't you say, to be the true leader, to start something, positive.
Yes,
Really,
it does.
that's great.
But,
Well, thank you so much, Phyllis. It's really been a pleasure to meet you. Like I said, I've heard so many great things about you and all the great things that you've done for BAA. And so you really have a beautiful legacy here at St. John's. So you should be very proud of yourself.
well, I appreciate you and thank you. It's an honor
You're
to
welcome.
even be considered. I'm just very grateful, and I'm very humbled, and I continue to pray and hope that everything goes well for the university, for the new president,
Yes, thank
for,
you. Yes.
for
He's going to do an amazing job.
yeah,
I met him briefly, and I told him it was like a shot of adrenaline after meeting him. He's a leader,
good.
and I'm really proud to be able to work for him. But hopefully, you were such a great coordinator with BAA. Maybe you can help us coordinate some alumni gatherings in South Carolina.
Okay.
And we could come and visit you down there.
That would be wonderful. Our door is always open.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Well, I hope you and your family stay safe.
thank you.
I hope, we have to pray that we get through this pandemic. And I think very slowly we're getting there. And with the vaccinations, I think we'll be getting together in person very
Yes,
soon. Let's hope.
you do
So,
hope.
yes. But thank you. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.